Okay, I was kind of reluctant to make this video, but I have to because I already said I was going to. It's just like getting up there. I'm gonna react to my first time doing stand up, but I need you to know if you're watching this video, this is not for the the weak soul, you know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be pretty cringy. I didn't go up there and do like three or four jokes, kill, bounce. No, 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 no. I wasn't like shy or like that really nervous to talk on stage, which is good. But I made the dumb decision, which I was told not to, but I still did it, to tell a story. And again, I'm gonna cop a plea before I play this video. Before I got up there, I wrote down the entire story, start to end, of like this is what happened. And it was a long ass story. Like that's crazy. Let's just start to end. I was like, okay, this is the story. And my mindset was, if someone heard this, like just randomly out the blue, they're not gonna believe this. So I felt like I needed to prove it was a real story before I got the jokes off. Well, my dumbass didn't realize, yeah, you only get 3 minutes. So I overdid the time, which I would rather go over on time than get up there and talk for like 30 seconds to a minute and be like, all right, that's it, go off early. But man, I was like 2 minutes in and I just kind of realized I was like, oh shit, I've done more explaining that like how this story is a real story rather than getting up here and talking to get jokes. It was not a good look. But I got a few jokes that I stepped on immediately because I was too focused on this is a real story, this is a true story. But if you're doing stand up, you gotta give them time to breathe. You gotta let them joke. Yeah, well, not joke. You gotta let them laugh. All right. I just needed to cop that plea before I show this video. Just saying. Oh boy. Let's do this. All right.
Common Larkin, everybody, yeah!
Wait. Shout out to Aaron and Madison, both of them. Just the fact that Aaron got to bring me up, I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Plus, I was almost at the very end. If I was towards the very front, oh, it would have been so much worse. If I was like number two or three, that would have been raps. But yeah, so shout out to Aaron, dude. He gave me a long ass intro. I was like, not like long ass is complaining, but like setting up the hype. And I was like, oh, don't do that. No. Don't put any hype into this.
All right, let's take a break. Let's pause for a second. All right. This next comic, now I want y'all to like clap it up. It's his first time here. Oh, it's his first time. You might have seen him when you came through the door tonight. I want you to put your hands together for a very good friend of mine and a very good guy. Put your hands together for Drew Pritchard.
Stop there. Love it. I love Aaron. It already stunned me a little bit. So I was over in the corner and I was like, damn, it happened to me first time. I heard comedians talk about people messing up last names, and I don't know if I'm just hearing it wrong in my mind. Is everyone growing up, it's either Pritchett or Pritchard, but it sounded like and whenever I was standing there to the side, it sounded like I heard Pritchard, and I was like, oh no. I was like, oh jeez, that's how we're starting. But then, here, watch this. Dab. I was like, what? All right, he got a picture of us. Haven't seen that picture yet.
But I would not clap. I still live with my grandmother, to be honest with you. It's not a good look. But speaking of her, I will say she
Boom,
is
first
actually
joke in,
obsessed with us.
bomb.
Like for example, this 2018, and she took me and my family
Segue to my
to
set,
Cancun for
the
graduating
story.
high school.
Alright, so I started there. But that was me segue into the stories. I snuck into a private party at a private resort in Cancun. It was a G-Shock party. And my grandmother took us there. And remember, this is all the real stories. So I'll add like the pictures and stuff to for whatever proof. But she took us to the resort for like a celebration because we graduated high school. We were both 18, so we could drink. It was a good time. But there was just this actual private event that was happening there, and I actually snuck in, and I was like, okay, bet. Later on, as I started working here, I was thinking this would be great for like a stand-up set. It'd probably be okay for like a 5 minutes if I've gotten like 5 or 6 jokes playing throughout it. This is me just telling the story again, and I'm just copping a plea because I was like, if I'm gonna put this on YouTube, I'm gonna defend myself because it's not good.
Me and my uncle, he's a month younger than me, by the way, and yeah, it's not good.
So also shout out Mike, and I'm sorry, Mike. I I'm glad you weren't there because if you were there, it would have hit so much worse for me. I've been like, oh, there was no actual laugh like break, and I just acknowledged it because that's like an ongoing joke. But you'll see, there's moments where like I'll be doing probably in my mind what is a setup to a joke, but once I say the joke, I'm still worried on like, oh my gosh, I'm going over on time. I need to get this out of the way. Plus, I'm still kind of concerned on making it like a true story. So it's like I stepped on the joke completely. It's crazy.
We both turned 18, and we were in Cancun, so just know it's pretty much open season on liquor. And if you can't tell by looking at me, I'm a big pothead. 5 months before that, I stopped smoking weed, and I replaced it with hard liquor, which is a big difference. I realized it the hard way, but we were in the resort. The second day, we noticed, we were like, okay, we're looking out the balcony, there's this big patch of grass, and there's this big white tent that's slowly being built. We're in Cancun, so it was built the next day. We walked out to the little terrace, and we were like,
Shout
oh
out Greg.
shit,
You can
this
hear
is a
Greg laughing in the
big
background.
tent.
Shout out Greg.
Yeah, we're 18-year-olds, we're drunk, we're intrigued. So, as one does, later that night, we were having a nice dinner, it was all-inclusive resort, all the good stuff, yada yada. I had to ruin it because I was hammered, of course, and I was sitting there, we were leaving, I saw this line of people just in super nicely dressed clothes, and I was like, what are they? And I looked, and they were for the tent. And I was the most intrigued they've been on a trip, and I was like, I have to get into that place. So I went to my Uncle Michael, and I was like, look, we have to sneak in. He wasn't off it because that's risky, of course. But luckily, I was like, okay, no, we're doing this. I went inside the resort. I walked.
I just need to put this out there before I got in there for open mic because I was working that day. Whenever he was announcing, you probably saw him at the door tonight. He wasn't joking. I was working at the door that night, and I wanted to go in before the show and like get the microphone fucking right here, this exact microphone, and pick it up, and just be like, "Hey, what's up? What's microphone placement?" How? Because that's the first time I've ever actually talked into the microphone as if I'm like doing a set. The only other times there's never, hey, can you make sure the mic's on? Yeah. Hey, Gabe's a bitch. And I'm just saying, like, whatever the most absurd stuff into the microphone. This is the first time I've had the lights on. I've even practiced, you know what I'm saying? Just because I've worked there for years, I've never actually got up there and just practiced it. So you could tell.
Pretty much found like a staircase that was, I would say abandoned, but I can get inside it. I went to the very bottom, and the door was messed up. It was all jammed. I was like a heavier guy back then, so I jumped into it a few times. It didn't necessarily budge, I will say, but like I said, I was drunk, so obviously go well.
It was at this point I realized, I was like, oh man, I'm not even to the tent yet. I was like, I'm focusing too much on how the story played out to make it real. So I tried to start jumping and leaping between the plots here, but then that's where you'll see in about a couple seconds. One, this might be where I make eye contact with the dude up here in the bottom left. Dude, I made eye contact with him, and it shocked me because he was just like looking right at me, like just staring, and I was not ready
I
for it.
looked down and I saw
It kind of
that
threw me
it
off, and
said
I lost my
alarm
placement. But
will make a noise
let's
if
see
you
if this
open
is
it.
where
I was like, all right, I'm still going for it. I went to
I
go
pulled out
open
my
it, and I
phone.
got like to where I was probably an inch open.
Oh,
And I
not
noticed,
yet.
I was like, there's an entire line of people right there. If I just walk out on this 5x5 concrete, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? What is he doing? So I was like,
Oh,
okay, I
also,
understand.
that's my bad. You're not supposed to say fuck on stage. And it's not even like we have a rule, you can't do it. It's to help the comic of like, if you can do a 3 minute set and you don't cuss. It's just like a normal, you know what I'm saying? Uh, you don't have to have clean jokes, but you don't say fuck, you don't say cunt, you don't say the words that will like you can't be on TV with. You can have innuendos all you want, just the actual word itself, because at times it can be a crutch. Like what just happened right there is if I would have strategically placed that fuck in a sentence at the very end of it, like just unknowingly to where it made it sound so natural. It's a crutch because there's people out there that just laugh at cuss words. I don't understand it, but there's times where instead of a tagline at the end of a joke, people will tell a joke. The joke's going good, yeah, yeah. Joke, either end the joke and they're like, ah, but fuck, man. That's gonna make at least like three people laugh out of like a theater crowd. So the fact that it's even a crutch, if you could do it without it, yeah. Now we've at the comedy club for the open mic, they've leaned up on the rule a lot, so like it's being said a lot more, let's say. But I also just naturally said it unknowingly, so
What do I do in this moment? So I pulled out my phone. In the moment, my best thing that can come up with in my mind is act like I'm on a fake phone call. And I did it. I put it to my ear and I was walking back and forth. I went to go out the door,
this is
and
where I
then
was
I
trying to
squeezed
lead
my belly
the
through as
plots.
little as I can. I stepped on the 5x5 concrete.
At this point, I was
I
just
looked
trying
to
to
my
make
right
it to
to
the
a
10.
sea of people just looking at me. And I was like, dude, everyone that just saw that 100% knows what's happening. But I was too, I mean, I closed the door. I couldn't turn around at that point. So I kept turning. I was like, all right.
I've also stopped watching most of the times I've watched this by this point. There's only certain times where like I've watched it like two or three times all the way through. Dude, it hurts me. This is killing me right now, and I'm doing this for a YouTube video.
Pulled my phone out and I was just walking. And I was like, well, I don't know what I do now. I'm kind of nervous. And I just kept slowly walking towards the tent. And about 5 minutes later, believe it or not, I got a little confident during the phone call too. Like I would just turn around and be like, dude, there's no way. Just kind of playing it off a little bit. But I put the phone down and I looked at my phone for about 5-10 seconds walking towards the tent. And I walked past this group of people that were dressed like they owned the resort. Keep in mind, I'm an 18-year-old white guy with a white shirt and basketball shorts, which is ballsy. And I pretty much got in there. I was like, okay, party started at this point. So go get a drink. Once I get a drink, I realize they know that I don't belong here because they handed me a plastic cup with vodka and a can of soda. Everyone's walking around with a mixed drink or a wine or like a beer bottle. And I'm just like, all right, well, I start walking around the group. They're
It's
giving me
killing
looks,
me.
but it's not like judgmental looks like he snuck in here. It's judgmental looks like, dude, who is this kid that is like owned like my father was a CEO
Right
of the
here.
resort pretty much. So I was pretty much a little more relaxed at that point, but I was still realized I was
Wait.
in too
I
deep
remember
for
it was
where I
around
was
this
at the
point.
moment. And I looked up, and I don't know where they just started playing this super loud music, and I just started dancing. Oh, alright.
Uh, oh, and I heard music, so I had to go. Yep. Oh, you got another picture.
One more time for Drew Christian, everybody! Yeah! Yeah!
Wait, did he get it right at the end?
One more time for Drew Christian, everybody! Yeah!
I don't know. That still kind of sounds like you said Pritchard.
Drew Christian!
The video is 5 minutes long, 5 minutes and 20 seconds long. Ironically enough, I was almost on stage for 4 minutes and 20 seconds. But yeah, so like I said, it was not good. It was a hard watch. I was like, oh man, I was glad I did it. I really was, and I'm doing it for the next one as well. But oh my goodness, that was. And I told myself if I'm going to post this on YouTube, I'm also going to cop a plea with it because I can't just put this up raw. I would want to die. And like I said, I'll add the pictures so it's to prove it's a true story, dude. That was my biggest problem with all this. I needed people to know that this is a real story. But that doesn't matter. Really, the important part is just getting jokes off. Which is crazy how much the truth does not matter in stand up. They kind of had a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, you can get up there and tell a story that's got 5% per truth, but people are like, yo, that made me laugh. It doesn't matter. I just feel like people needed to know it was true in order to laugh at it. Not the case. But now I know for next time. And I'm probably not going to do a story. Next time I'm going to do like 3 to 4 jokes probably. Probably about Tourette's. And I'm not going to give the rest up because I'm also not going to set myself to it. In case someone watches this and like, hey, I saw the video. I'm trying to see your Tourette's and piehead jokes. And I'm like, yo. I did a switch up. Don't make me get in my head. But yeah, that's it for this video. And shout out GG. But shout out P Willie too. He pulled up, and shout out Clay for recording the video. He's literally the one that made this possible. So again, shout out to the comedy club, dude. It's freaking right there. This, oh my goodness, easily the best job I've ever had, for sure.
All right. This next comic, I want y'all to like clap it up. It's his first time here. Oh, it's his first time. You might have seen him when you came through the door tonight. I want you to put your hands together for a very good friend of mine and a very good guy. Put your hands together for Drew Pritchard.
Alrighty, I appreciate you, but I would not clap. I still live with my grandmother, to be honest with you. It's not a good look. But speaking of her, I will say she is actually such a bless. Like for example, this was 2018, and she took me and my family to Cancun for graduating high school. Me and my uncle, he's a month younger than me, by the way, and yeah, it's a lot of not looking good. We both turned 18, and we were in Cancun, so just know it's pretty much open season on liquor. And if you can't tell by looking at me, I'm a big pothead. 5 months before that, I stopped smoking weed, and I replaced it with hard liquor, which is a big difference. I realized it the hard way, but we were in the resort. The second day we noticed, we were like, okay, we're looking out the balcony, there's this big patch of grass, and there's this big white tent that's slowly being built. We're in Cancun, so it was built the next day. We walked out to the little terrace, and we were like, oh shit, this is a big tent. Like, yeah, we're 18-year-olds, we're drunk, we're intrigued. So, as one does, later that night, we were having a nice dinner, it was all-inclusive resort, all the good stuff, yada yada. I had to ruin it because I was hammered, of course, and I was sitting there, we were leaving, I saw this line of people just in super nicely dressed clothes, and I was like, what are they? And I looked, and they were for the tent. And I was the most intrigued I've been on a trip, and I was like, I have to get into that place. So I went to my Uncle Michael, and I was like, look, we have to sneak in. He wasn't off it because that's risky, of course. But luckily, I was like, okay, no, we're doing this. I went inside the resort. I pretty much found a staircase that was, I would say abandoned, but I can get inside it. I went to the very bottom, and the door was messed up. It was all jammed. I was a heavier guy back then. So I jumped into it a few times. It didn't necessarily budge, I will say, but like I said, I was drunk, so obviously go well. I looked down and I saw that it said alarm will make a noise if you open it. I was like, all right, I'm still going for it. I went to go open it, and I got like to where I was probably an inch open, and I noticed, I was like, there's an entire line of people right there. If I just walk out on this 5x5 concrete, they're gonna be like, what the fuck, what is he doing? So I was like, okay, I understand. What do I do in this moment? So I pulled out my phone. In the moment, my best thing that can come up with my mind is, act like I'm on a fake phone call. And I did it, I put it in my ear, and I was walking back and forth. I went to go out the door, and then I squeezed my belly through as little as I can. I stepped on the 5x5 concrete, and I looked to my right to the sea of people just looking at me. And I was like, dude, everyone that just saw that 100% knows what's happening. But I closed the door, I couldn't turn around at that point. So I kept turning, I was like, all right, pulled my phone out, and I was just walking. And I was like, well, I don't know what I do now, I'm kind of nervous. And I just kept slowly walking towards the tent. And about 5 minutes later, believe it or not, I got a little confident on the phone call too. Like I would just turn around and be like, dude, there's no way. Just kind of playing it off a little bit. But I put the phone down, and I I looked at my phone for about 5-10 seconds walking towards the tent, and I walked past this group of people that were dressed like they owned the resort. Keep in mind, I'm an 18-year-old white guy with a white shirt and basketball shorts, which is ballsy. And I pretty much got in there, I was like, okay, party started at this point. So, go get a drink. Once I get a drink, I realize they know that I don't belong here because they handed me a plastic cup with vodka and a can of soda. Everyone's walking around with a mixed drink or a wine or like a beer bottle. And I'm just like, all right, well, I start walking around the group. They're giving me looks, but it's not like judgmental looks like he snuck in here. It's judgmental looks like, dude, who is this kid that is like owned like my father was a CEO of the resort pretty much. So I was pretty much a little more relaxed at that point, but I was still realized I was in too deep for where I was at the moment. And I looked up, and I don't know where they just started playing this super, super loud music, and I just started dancing. Oh, alright. Appreciate y'all.
One more time for Drew Pritchard, everybody! Yeah! Yeah!
Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month.